In 2025, a team of archaeologists redrew the map of the Roman Empire, not with shovels, with satellites, and with photographs taken by military aircraft during the Second World War. They were hunting for roads, faint scars in the soil, invisible from the ground, that only appear from the sky. And what they found changed the number. For years, we believed Rome had built somewhere around 190,000 kilometers of road. The new map pushed it closer to 300,000, 50% more than we thought. 2,000 years after the last stone was laid, we are still discovering how big this thing was. Because that is what it is. Not a collection of roads, a single machine, spread across 3 continents, so vast we have not finished tracing it. And here's the part that makes no sense. This machine, the largest construction project of the ancient world, was not built for travelers. It was not built for trade. It was built as a weapon. To understand why, forget the map for a moment. Follow one thing that could only exist because of these roads. A message. A single, urgent dispatch, somewhere on the edge of the empire, about to begin a race toward Rome. The road it will travel is the part you can see. And the part you can see is the smallest part of the story. Our message is moving. A rider, changing horses, on a road as straight as a drawn line. But before we follow him, ask the obvious question. Why is this road here at all? Who builds a perfectly engineered highway across a wilderness, and why? Rewind 300 years. 312 BC. Rome is not an empire. It is one city, locked in a long, grinding war with its neighbors, the Samnites. A war it is not winning easily. And a Roman official named Appius Claudius makes a decision that will outlive the Republic itself. He builds a road. From Rome, toward the front line, all the way to Capua, the Via Appia, the first great Roman road. And it is not built for merchants or pilgrims or tourists. It is built so that soldiers can walk to a war faster. Because Rome faced one enemy no legion could kill. Distance. A revolt on the frontier. An invasion at the border. By the time the news reached Rome, by the time an army was raised and marched over broken tracks and mud, weeks had passed. And in those weeks, a small problem became a catastrophe. The road erases those weeks. Don't think of it as a path. Think of it as a weapon that fires legions. Point it at a threat, and Rome can now deliver an army to that threat before the threat has time to grow. That is the invention, not the paving, the speed. And who built these weapons? The soldiers themselves. In our first episode, we said Rome's real weapon was a shovel. This is where that shovel goes to work. The same legionary who fought was also an engineer, a surveyor, a digger, a bridge builder. As the army pushed into enemy land, the road grew behind it. Supplies followed. Siege engines followed. And if everything went wrong, the road was the fastest way home. It was, in a strange way, the cheapest weapon Rome ever built. The labor was already on the payroll. It was simply holding a spade instead of a sword. But here's the turn. The thing that sets Rome apart from every empire before it. Persia had a royal road. Egypt had its highways. But those were built for the crown and its couriers, reserved for kings, officials, armies. Rome's road was a weapon that became a public square, open to everyone. Merchants, farmers, messengers, the poor. No toll, no gate. The same stones beneath a senator's carriage and a farmer's cart. Rome built a weapon, and then handed it to everyone. And that decision, almost by accident, is how a military supply line became the thing that would carry Latin and coins and gods and ideas into every corner of the known world. But that comes later. For now, come back to our writer. He is only possible because 3 centuries earlier, a single Roman decided that distance was the enemy and declared war on it with stone. Every hoofbeat beneath him is riding on that decision. He has a long way to go. And the road under him is about to reveal why Rome's engineers were not merely careful. They were obsessed. Because to carry an army, in any weather, for 1,000 years, a road cannot simply exist. It has to be perfect. And the way Rome made it perfect borders on madness. Watch the road ahead of our rider. It doesn't wander. It doesn't follow the valley or trace the river. It runs dead straight to the horizon, as if someone had drawn it with a ruler across the surface of the world. That straightness is not vanity, it's arithmetic. Every curve is distance. Every extra mile is another hour a legion is not where it needs to be. And when the entire point of the road is speed, the shortest line between two places isn't elegant. It's a weapon aimed more precisely. But, and this matters, the Romans were not fanatics about it. Where it made sense, they broke the line. They ran roads along high ground, even the long way round, to keep them visible, safe from ambush, and clear of the floods that swallowed the valleys. Straightness was a tool, not a religion. The real obsession was deeper, a road that could be trusted, completely, forever. And that obsession begins before a single stone is laid. Before anyone digs, Rome sends its surveyors, and they carry instruments that would not look out of place on a building site today. The groma, a cross of arms with hanging plumb lines, used to shoot perfect right angles and set the line. The dioptra, for sighting across distance and taking levels. And the chorobates, a bench nearly 6 meters long with a channel of water along the top. A spirit level, built in an age without spirit levels, precise enough to measure the gentlest slope. With these, the engineers plant a line of poles across the landscape. That line has a name, the rigor. And it is exactly what it sounds like, a line to be followed rigorously. The road exists as pure geometry before it exists as stone. Then comes the part that tells you everything about the Roman mind. When something stands in the way, a river, a ravine, a mountain, most builders in history did the same thing. They went around. Rome went through. A river? They threw a stone bridge across it, like the six-arched giant at Alcantara, or the bridge over the Nera that still stands after 2,000 years. A ravine? They filled it, or spanned it. A hill of solid rock? Under the Emperor Vespasian, they carved a tunnel straight through the mountain at the Furlow Pass. Nearly 40 meters of road driven through living rock by hand. And on the Danube, at the gorge called the Iron Gates, they cut a road into the face of a sheer cliff and bolted the rest onto wooden beams hanging over the river, so that a general named Trajan could move an army where no army was supposed to go. Beside it, his engineer Apollodorus threw a bridge across the Danube over 1 kilometer long, the longest bridge in the world for the next 1,000 years. The message is always the same. The land does not get a vote. But the true obsession, the part almost no one ever saw, is under the rider's horse right now. Because the road you can see is the top 10%. Everything that makes it work is buried. Dig down, and a major paved road is not a layer of stones. It is 4. At the bottom, the statumen, large foundation stones, laid on ground dug down to something solid. Above it, the rudis, crushed stone bound with lime. Then the nucleus, a fine packed core of gravel and sand, beaten flat. And only at the very top, the summum dorsum, the polygonal paving slabs, the single layer the world would ever see. And inside those layers hide the details that border on genius. The paving stones were deliberately not squared into neat blocks, because a grid of perfect joints would give the constant weight of carts a single line to crack along. Irregular stones have no such weakness. The crushed stone beds were built to let rainwater filter down and drain away, instead of pooling into mud. And the surface itself was curved, higher in the center, lower at the edges, so that water ran off the crown, into the ditches waiting on either side. That camber is the reason our rider is still moving. The road doesn't flood. It doesn't turn to mud in autumn. It doesn't heave and crack in the frost. In any weather, in any season, the message keeps going. Because the discipline is in the part you cannot see. Exactly as it was in the marching camp, back in episode 1. And yet, here is the honest truth. The one that makes it more impressive, not less. Most Roman roads were never this masterpiece. Most were humble, packed gravel, simple beds, adapted to whatever the ground offered. The 4-layer marvel was the premium arterial, not the everyday rule. Because the real Roman genius was never a single recipe. It was this. They fitted the machine to the ground beneath it, feather light on solid rock, monstrous and deep across a marsh. Not one road repeated. One system, adapted 100,000 times. Our rider crests a ridge. Beneath him, the road holds, dry, firm, unbothered by the weather closing in. But a perfect road, on its own, is only potential. A magnificent, empty line. What turned that line into power was what Rome built on top of it. A system for moving not just soldiers, but something far more valuable, time itself. A perfect road is only a promise. A line of stone, waiting. What Rome laid on top of that line turned it into something no empire had ever possessed. The ability to move faster than events. Follow our message again. It reaches a low building beside the road, and it doesn't stop. A tired horse is unhitched. A fresh one is already waiting. The rider barely breaks stride. That building has a name, a mutatio, a changing station. Every 12 to 18 miles along the great roads, a place to swap an exhausted horse for a fresh one. And every day's ride or so, a mansio, a rest station, food, beds, stables, repairs. An entire chain of infrastructure strung along the roads, existing for a single purpose, to keep things moving. This was the cursus publicus, the imperial relay, built out under Augustus, the closest thing the ancient world had to a postal service and a state highway network combined. Not for ordinary people. This was the government's own nervous system, carrying official messages and officials themselves. And with it, the numbers become staggering. An army marched maybe 30 kilometers in a day, but a courier on the relay, handing himself from fresh horse to fresh horse, never resting the animal, could cover 200 kilometers in a single day, perhaps more. Think about what that means. A crisis on the Rhine, a death in the imperial family, a revolt in a distant province. News that once took a month now reached Rome in days. The Roman writer Pliny tells us that the future emperor Tiberius, racing to reach his dying brother, covered close to 200 Roman miles in a single day and night, on these roads, with these relays. A man crossing a continent at a speed that would not be matched again for over 1,000 years. And here is the thing: the road was really moving. Not horses, not even messages. Time. The distance between the edge of the empire and its heart, measured not in miles, but in days, collapsed. And an empire that can hear about a problem before it grows, and answer it before it spreads, is an empire that can hold together far beyond the reach of any single army. So how far was it, exactly, to the heart? Rome answered that question, literally. Along every road, at every mile, stood a stone, a milestone. A carved column, often over 1.5 meters tall, weighing a couple of tons, sunk into the earth. It gave the number of the mile, named who had built or repaired the road, and told you how far you stood from a single, fixed point. Because Augustus had raised, in the forum, a column sheathed in gilded bronze, the Miliarium Aureum, the point from which every distance in the empire was measured. Later, they would call it the umbilicus, the navel of the world. All roads lead to Rome was never a poem. It was a measurement. Every stone on every road from Britain to Syria was counting the miles back to that one golden pillar. And they mapped it. Rome reduced its whole tangled world to diagrams, route lists, itineraries, and one astonishing survivor. A map meant to be unrolled like a scroll, stretching from Britain toward India, the roads stylized into clean, straight lines. The empire redrawn as a circuit board. And our message? It arrives. Days, not weeks. A warning delivered while it still mattered, because a censor drew a line 300 years earlier, and generations of Romans buried 4 layers of stone beneath it, and an emperor planted a golden pillar to measure it, and a chain of stables kept it alive. The machine worked, but a nervous system that can rush a warning to the brain in days hides a weakness inside its greatest strength. Because a road that lets you reach anywhere, lets anything reach you. And one day, the same roads that carried Rome out to the world would carry the world back to Rome. For 500 years, the roads ran one way in the Roman mind. Outward. Power flowing from the center to the edges. Legions, governors, orders, coins, pouring down the stone arteries to the frontier. But a road does not care which way you walk on it. The same road that let a legion reach a rebellion in days, let a rebellion reach Rome just as fast. The same network that projected Roman power outward became, when the frontier finally broke, the perfect road inward. The armies that would eventually tear the Western Empire apart did not have to hack their way through wilderness. Rome had already built them a highway. Straight, drained, all weather, signposted with the exact distance to the capital. The machine was so good that it served its destroyers as faithfully as it had served its makers. Everything the road carried, it carried both ways. Trade and ideas, but also, at times, disease, traveling the same lines as the legions. A perfect circulatory system is also a perfect way to spread an infection. This is the double edge of every great network. The thing that connects you to everywhere connects everywhere to you. And yet, when Rome fell, the roads did not. The stones were simply too good to die. For 1,000 years after the last Western emperor, Europe kept walking, trading, and marching on roads that almost no one still knew how to build. Whole kingdoms ran on Roman infrastructure they had inherited and could not replace. The machine outlived the civilization that made it. It still does. Countless modern roads follow, almost exactly, the lines a Roman surveyor snapped with a groma 2,000 years ago. Towns across Italy still carry the name of the milestone they grew up beside. Terzo, quarto, quinto, sesto. The third, the fourth, the fifth mile from a city long gone. And the words themselves give it away. Strada, street, strasa. All of them descend from vie stratae, roads built in layers. Every time you say the word, you are speaking a Roman fossil. Which brings us back to where we began. In 2025, with satellites and old wartime photographs, we were still finding it. 50% more road than we knew was there. Faint scars in the soil we hadn't yet traced. 2,000 years on, the machine is so vast that we have not finished measuring it. And follow it far enough, and it does something almost unbelievable. A single chain of road runs along the coast of North Africa, from Alexandria to Tangiers, crosses into Spain, and links back up through Gaul and Italy. A ring of stone closing the circle around the entire Mediterranean. Rome did not just cross its world. It drew a line all the way around it. So here is the real monument. It is not the Colosseum you photograph. It is the thing beneath the modern asphalt, the line a Roman drew, that you drove along today without ever knowing it was there. Our rider reached Rome. He has been gone for 2,000 years. But the road he rode is still here. You have almost certainly stood on it. Next time, Rome could move an army anywhere on Earth. But moving 1 million people into a single city and keeping every one of them alive was a different kind of impossible. How Rome carried an ocean of water every single day to the greatest city the ancient world had ever seen.